Hey everyone, this is Bob O, and I'm going to do a test of the GRACO True Coat 360 VSP electronic paint sprayer. I've already started setting up my stuff here. I have my disposable or reusable container sleeves for the paint. I've already got one inserted inside of the this container here. As you can see, you can squeeze this, it's pretty soft. What we're going to do is we're going to screw this cover on to the top of that, and once that's on there, the whole thing will just screw or clip right onto here. And once that's done, all we have to do is lift this little guy up right here, give this a squeeze, get all the air out, and then we'll start the priming feature. And basically just turning this down to prime pump and pressing the trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll get ready to spray. Okay, now we have this thing connected. I've already released this this little bleed cover here. So now I'm just going to squeeze this until the little bit of air that's in there comes out. We'll just watch this tip until it brings the paint all the way up. Okay, you hear the air stop there. So now we're just going to close this. And make sure that's nice and tight. Sorry, I'm using one hand here. You can see it's all buckled, but that's okay because it means there's no air. And this thing's got a nice tight seal, and that should allow the inside of the sprayer unit to suck up the paint and shoot it out. But first, what we want to do is we want to make sure that two things are happening. We want to make sure that this setting is on prime pump, and that the sprayer head itself is actually on clean out, which it's not. That little metal tip you see there is the fine point sprayer. So we just turn this to the opposite side. You see that big hole? And this should give us a little bit of a extra amount of spray to get that primed up nice. I've also set my pressure here to 5, so that should be slower than the maximum of 10, and that should just allow us to get this up and running. If it doesn't pull right away, then I'll go ahead and turn that up. Okay, so it took me a couple tries to get the pump primed, but I realized that all you need to do is hold it upside down like this while you're doing it, and gravity helps along the priming process. So now that I've got it ready to go, I'm just going to do some sweeps side to side here. They recommend, not holding it down at an angle, holding it straight, horizontally, and starting your motion before you press the trigger, and then also releasing the trigger before stopping, and that should help with eliminating some of the heavier, paint areas. So let's give this a try. Okay, so that first pass, as you can see, doesn't really show too well, but I have to admit I'm not using the best color paint. This is very light blue. Probably would show better with a darker paint, but this is all I had available at the time. So, but as you can see, it did lay down quite a bit of paint in just a few seconds, and we're only using a speed of 5. So what they recommend is, if you're going to do a real tight space, to use a slower setting. It'll slow down the paint, as you can see here. So you see there, I mean, that was a really small section, probably only 4 inches high. Pretty well controlled, I would say. So if this is set at 5 or 10, you're going to see a much larger spray range. And this is probably what people say in other reviews, where they say you can really do a big job really fast, but it's not so good for small jobs. Well, I think it all depends on the speed that you're using, and of course how far away from the wall or whatever your media is that you're going to spray. So let's try it at 10 and see what happens. Yeah, so I basically just covered the rest of that board in like 2 seconds. So again, I should probably use a darker paint next time, but as you can see, this thing works really quick. The settings do help you determine what kind of use you can apply it for. Me personally, in a small room like this, I'll probably do the number 10 setting until I get to some edges, or you know, maybe when I do the door, things like that, which will be a big help rather than using a brush, I might add. So that's it. So far so good. The biggest headache really was getting it primed. But again, I think, you know, holding it upside down just for a couple seconds really helped out. And the one thing to keep in mind as well is when you are bleeding the air out of the container and this is open, make sure that this is facing the highest point, because that, you know, will naturally help the air bubbles get to the top. That was another mistake I made as well. So the next part is going to be cleanup, which is really going to consist of depressurizing the system by putting it back on prime pump. It's going to include changing the tip to unclog, and then we're going to fill that up with mineral spirits and give that a spray. And then I'll probably clean this out too so I can reuse it, why not. And otherwise pretty short work for potentially larger painting jobs. That's it. Thank you.